dry or if it's going to be wet. I'm really hoping for a dry weekend.
Yeah, I am as well, so we can see the real pure pace of these guys in both qualifying and the race, and it looks like dry for qualifying at least.
Oh, it's not a bad race. It's going to start wet, but for the rest of it, it's going to be dry. But as that kind of spoiled the start, I don't know. It could have made it more interesting, if anything.
Yeah, I mean, I'm expecting everyone to be going out, and obviously on the quickest tyres as well, because it looks like being either intermediate or wet tyres for the start. But I'm expecting everyone to be putting on a dry setup, because it looks like within about 20 minutes we'll be running in completely dry conditions. So my prediction will be, if they're on intermediates for the start, which I expect, probably about lap 8 or lap 9, and be coming off into dries. So it could make it a bit chaotic in the first couple of laps with everyone dicing for positions, especially in tricky conditions on such a short circuit. So we'll have to see how that goes, as the Wesker is the first one out on track, as he usually is, for a bit of TV time. And the Wesker's performances this season, Richie, I think you'd agree, he started off pretty well, consistently with podiums and good high finishes, and then second half of the season he sort of dropped off the pace a little bit.
Well, I mean, it reminds me a bit like Arsenal Football Club, you know what I mean? Start off flying and then just bottle it, just absolute bottle it.
Yeah,
he's probably going to end up with 4th or something, you know what I mean?
Well, I was going to say, the only difference to Wesker is currently he's not in 4th place. He's actually all the way down in 9th place. But yeah, thank you, thank you for that little shout out there to how bad Arsenal have been. But we're not here for football. We're here for Formula One, and Wesker certainly would like to end the season on a bit of a competitive high. But it'll be difficult today to see him on the podium, because I don't think he's that confident around this track.
No, but in terms of lap times, you've got to think Paul's going to be a very low 110, especially in the dry now.
Yep, low 110, or even, I'm looking at the likes of Beastas here, and maybe even Maxi Luca as well. We know how very quick he is around here. Beastas and Maxi Luca seem to be trading positions at the top of the time trial leaderboard, so maybe one or both of them can get into the very high 109s. But if I was out there setting a 1 minute 10.2, 10.3, I'd be pretty confident of starting on the front 2 rows.
Yeah, definitely. I'm hoping it's as exciting as what the Division 2 qualifying was, because that was epic. Just literally pole position in the last minute, just kept changing and changing. I've got a funny feeling it's going to be exactly the same today. So let's watch on and enjoy. But like you said, Wesker. I mean, if you're Wesker now, what do you want to do for the last couple of races?
I think
just show what. Right.
Yeah, he's got nothing to lose. The funny thing is, even though he's down in 9th place in the driver's standings, he can still theoretically win the championship, barring you'd have more luck winning the lottery, to be honest with you, than Wesker winning the title now. I think he's 48 points behind of a possible 50. But for the last 2 races tonight and next week, I think Wesker's just got to try and get a couple of decent finishes, build his confidence back up, and then have a bit of an onslaught for the championship in season 2, which will obviously be kicking off a couple of weeks after the end of season 1. So for the guys fighting for the title and relegation now, they're into their own personal battles. For the guys like Wesker and like people like Daniel Morris as well and Flair, they're going to be stuck in the midfield for the standings. So the best thing for them to do now is just to gain a bit of confidence, get some good results, and then use that as a boost for the beginning of season 2.
Yes, indeed. And he's on the soft tyres, and he could only manage a 110.8, so he really needs to improve on that time. And Maxi Luca has decided to go out on the mediums, which is a bit of a strange call, maybe, especially with it being a wet start. He's obviously just getting used to the track, I'm guessing.
Yeah, there's quite a few people. It looks like Flair's out there on mediums, and Merck is as well, and he's just set a 1 minute 10.8, I think it was. No, 11.2, I do apologise. 10.8 was Wesker. So there's a few people out there in the mediums at the moment. This is probably just a quick trial run, get a decent lap in, and then put on a set of soft tyres for the last part of qualifying. It makes no sense to qualify in the mediums unless you do want to start towards the back of the field, because as you said, Richie, it's a wet start, so whatever tyres they set their fastest lap time on will be pointless, because they're all starting on intermediates or wet tyres.
Yep. And Beastas, well, he's gone straight onto the soft scent. And he's made a bit of a mess of that one there. But yeah, Beastas, another driver, can still win the championship. If Mystic Joker was to DNF today, can you imagine that last race in Abu Dhabi?
It would
Jesus.
it would give me a brain aneurysm, I think, because there's a possibility that in the last 5 or 6 laps today, I might be scratching my head looking at the points if it comes down to Mystic Jokers fighting for a podium and Addy and Maxi for the win. If it goes to Abu Dhabi and there's like 4 or 5 people within about 20 points, I mean, it could be decided in the last lap, and that just shows how competitive this season has been. 9 people with 2 races to go can still theoretically win the title. I think in Formula 1, the best we saw was 4 people in 2010, so it just shows how competitive this league is, where half the field can still win the title.
Yep, and Beastas is just set a 110.3, so already not messing around. It's a good lap, but I still think a 110.3 is going to get beat, so it's going to have to improve, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think a couple of attempts would probably do it, to be honest.
Mark Demand had a pretty great race last week. Is he safe? Would you say he's done enough?
It's really difficult to judge. You know, one result can change the whole aspect of the relegation zone. He's 2 points clear of Cosworth Tom, and with Raphael 1 obviously being down in Division 2, as you said beforehand, the only relegation fight that's now on is between Mark Demand and Cosworth Tom. But then you've got to look at John Heaven Terry, who may not be turning up tonight. He's only 9 points clear. I say only 9 points clear. If we lose half the field in the first 4 or 5 laps, and we've got Mark Demand and Cosworth Tom finishing the top 5 or top 6, and John Heaven Terry's right back into that battle. So again, like for the championship, the relegation positions could be settled, with only a few laps to go at Abu Dhabi.
Oh yes, indeed. Right, here we've got Mystic Joker just starting a flying lap. Then he's on the mediums, championship leader. It's all in his hands, and I mean, with 2 races to go, with the gap that he's got, if he was to throw it away now, you've got to feel he'd be devastated.
Yeah, I mean, if everyone was to, let's say, for example, if everyone was to retire tonight, then Mr. Joker would automatically win the title. He's got over 25 points, 27 in fact over Maxi Lucas, so the ball is very much in his court, and it's all up to him now to throw it away, really. So I think tonight he's just going to concentrate on himself. Just before Mr. Joker does set his first flying lap, just special shout out to championship contender Adi Barbar, who's currently in 4th place, just half a second off of Beastas, and he's set that on the medium tyres, so it looks like very early on Adi Barbar, if he puts on a set of soft tyres, could be challenging for pole position. So we'll have to keep one eye on him when he comes out later on. In fact, he's just leaving the pits now on a set of softs.
Yes, indeed. Just looking at Mystic set times now, 17.2, 36.4, so considering it's on the mediums, it's not too bad. I think he might put him about 7th or something. Oh, it's 6th then for Mystic, and that's on the medium, so I did doubt him before the race. I thought, Brazil, not his quickest track, but maybe he was just having us on a little bit.
Well, possibly. Just looking at his sector times here, he's just comparing him to Maxi Luca, who Mystic Joker has beat by just 0.03 of a second, and both on the medium tyres, and their sector times look very, very similar. In fact, Mystic is only a 10th quicker in sector 2, and he's lost a little bit in both sector 1 and sector 3, so those two are very, very close, and Adi Barbar's just 2 tenths ahead on the mediums as well. So it looks like the top 3 title contenders tonight are all very similar on pace, which would be good for us.
Oh, no doubt about it, mate. And Raphael 111.2. Well, I'll say he's desperate for points. We know he is going to be in Division 2 next season, but I mean, I think he still wants to show what he's capable of going into Division 2. And a 111.2, that's not bad, really, considering the season he's had.
Yeah, unfortunately, with such a hyper-competitive field that we have here in Division 1, there's always going to be those that are towards the back of the field, and unfortunately Raphael 1 is one of them. I don't doubt his driving abilities. We know he's very quick, and he's had some very good races this season, especially in the first half of the season. I think he finished 4th at Russia, which just highlights how good a driver he can be. But certainly with the new drivers that joined in the mid-part of the season, I'm looking at the likes of Maxi Luca and Beastas, for example, they've sort of pushed him back down the pecking order a little bit. So I'm sure that Raphael 1 will have a competitive season in Division 2 next time out.
So there it is then. Thoughts on Raphael 1 there from Lily. Danny Morris. He's out on a hot lap, 17.3 sector 1, so he's a bit down on Beast. What can he produce in sector 2? He's 36.1. That's not bad. This could be a decent time here from Danny Morris. He's probably, what's the word? He's probably the driver I've been most shocked by this season.
Sorry, Richie. Just got to interrupt quickly. Adi Barber has taken provisional pole on a set of soft tyres with a lap time of 1:10.1, which is a tenth quicker than Beastas. So Adi Barber has got some very good pace here.
Yeah, he has. And I mean, that is actually quite phenomenal. Now that I was not expecting. What a lap time from Adi Barber, 1:10.1. That could see him on the front row of the grid.
Yeah, I'll be surprised if two people can go quicker than Merck has gone up into third place as well, only just over a tenth off as well. And yeah, the top 11 at the moment separated by just a second. So like I predicted, we're going to see some very competitive times here. And Maxi Luke up into fifth place, and Mystic Joker still down in 10th, but he's the only one that set a lap time in the medium, so he'll be back out on softs, and I'll be expecting him to fly up as Raphael 1 has left the session, unfortunately.
Yes. So there is still time for him to rejoin, but Maxi Luca is already down in sector 1, so at the minute, not quite going to plan for Maxi. It was a lot of people's favourites to maybe be the one who was going to challenge Mystic, but at the minute, it's not looking too promising for him. He might be having to change our minds and start thinking that Adi Barbar's the favourite to challenge him at this rate.
Well, yeah, Maxi Luca's only 3 points ahead of Adi Barbar, so a change in positions during the race can see Adi Barbar jump him and be possibly the only one to challenge Mystic Joko, who's now on an outlap on the soft tyres, just coming up through what looks like the second to last corner, now the long drag up the hill. So I'll stay with Mystic and let you know how he's getting on, but I'm expecting this to be very close to pole position.
So Mystic Joker then, and he's a big lap. Everyone's on their laps at the minute, so Flair's on a poor lap. Did you say Mystic just started a hot lap, did you say?
Yeah, he's just coming up to the end of sector 1 at the moment, so we'll get a good idea of what his sector times are going to be like. 17.0, that's quick, that's very quick.
It's the quickest. It is the quickest, so Mystic Joker, he's a man on a charge at the minute, fastest sector 1, championship leader, could win the title today here in Brazil. He's a big lap. If he can get himself on the front row of the grid tonight, it's looking pretty good.
Yeah, it's looking very promising this lap. I can't see any mistakes from him so far. We're coming up to the end of sector 2 at the moment. This will be the big telling theme, because you can lose a lot of time in this very long sector 2. It's a 36.1. How is that to everyone else? He's 2 tenths down. 2 tenths down and Addy, 1 tenth down and Beastas. So at the moment it looks like good enough for third. We'll see what he can do in the final sector. This is basically just put your foot to the floor, don't lift off, don't brake. It's a run and gun straight to the line. What's it going to be? It's only good enough for 4th place.
Oof. And I think he needs to go for another lap, because I think there's a few drivers out there like Cliffy and Maxi who could still improve.
Yep, we've got a lot of guys at the moment on in the garage at the moment, just biding their time before they come out at the end. We all know from now that, the last 2-3 minutes is when it gets absolutely hectic on track, with everyone trying to get a bit of track position for one flying lap. But Adi Barber at the moment on pole position, just 1 tenth ahead of Beastas. Merck, good performance from him, ahead of his teammate as well. So it's a Red Bull lockout on row 2. Cliffy in 5th, and the other championship contender Maxi Luca down in 6th place, just 3 tenths off.
Well, this is going to be absolute. But another thing we've got to remember, it don't matter how quick you are in qualifying, it's going to be all about who can handle the wet better, because that's how the race is starting, and that's where things are going to spice up. Yep,
I've been saying it all season, points make prizes. I'd rather start last and win the race than be on pole position and crash out on lap 1. So, and especially for guys like Mystic Joker and Maxi, and of course the guys at the back of the field as well, like Mark Demand and Cosworth Tom, and even if John Heaven Terry, who looks like he's not going to be here tonight, unfortunately, they'll be looking to keep it careful in the first few laps as well. The last thing we want to do is have your race ruined right at the start, because that could make or break the end of your season.
Yes, indeed. Can Radic improve on 16th? Yes, he can. He goes 12th. It's a good lap from Radic. Cosworth Tom goes in the pits. Beastas. It's not his track, is it? I mean, normally we see it time and time again. Qualifying, he absolutely dominates it. Not in Brazil. He can't even beat Adi Barbar sector 1 at the minute. Can he beat sector 2? Oh, that's a big sector 2. That is. It's a 35.7. So Beast. This could take him pole for the time being, and it could be a 1.9. Are we going to see the first driver then to enter into the 1.9? Here comes Beastas. Oh, it's close. It's a 1:10.008. That is close. You ain't getting much closer.
No.
What about Cliffy's on a... No.
Stonking lap time from Beastas there. He's gone purple in sector 2 and sector 3, and he's only lost out by 200ths to Mystic Joker, who's purple in sector 1 but back in 4th place. And Beastas now nearly 2 tenths clear of Adi Barber, so it looks like he's looking good for pole position. There's someone out there can pull something incredible out of the bag, but yeah, very competitive qualifying position as we predicted.
Well, Cliffy's on a pretty quick lap. It's all about that sector 2. Can he match Beast sector 2? Beast on the 35.7. Cliffy, oh, it's a 35.8, so he's not far off. This could be second on the grid at the minute for Cliffy, who in these last few races, it's like we've seen a new driver in Cliffy. Jeez.
Yeah, his performances have been brilliant, and he's he was very happy to finally get his first win, as well as he goes 3rd. Good lap.
Yep, it is. So Adi Barber still hanging in there in 2nd. Merck as well, what a qualifying Merck's had, man.
Yes, first time in quite a while that we've seen Merck out qualify his teammates, so hopefully he can have a good race as well. Maxi Luca is just set a 17.1 in the first sector, which is it quicker than his best? It is, but it's not the quickest in sector 1, so Maxi Luca needs to find a couple of more attempts because he's down in 6th place at the moment.
Oh, and he's out. Maxi Luca's backed out, he's got to go again. Maxi really struggling. What can Flair produce? Obviously, we've heard Flair's got a bit of a hand injury, so it could be affecting him. But it's not in sector 1. It's a good sector 1 time. This is going to the wire, Lil. This is going to the wire.
Yeah,
I don't think anyone's going to beat Beastas, but
yeah, from 2nd down to about 10th, I think it's going to constantly change right up to the checkered flag. I'm just looking at Mark Demande. I'm going to stay with him to see what he can do. At the moment, we've only got, I don't think anyone else has joined the session since we started at 9 o'clock, which means that we may very well have only 14 people start this race, which is probably a new low for us, which will give a real confidence boost to both Cosworth Tom and Mark Demande to try and keep it together and score some points if a few people drop out. So Mark Demande, currently in 12th place, probably wants to try and get himself inside the top 10 if he can, because he's battling with Cosworth Tom at the back of his qualifying session right now. He's coming up to the line. It looks like a decent lap, to be honest. It should be a 110 something. It's a 10.6, but he stays in 12th place.
And just behind him, Flair done a 10.4, and that puts him to 6th. They are going again, and Maxi Luca, that's a brilliant first sector. It's the fastest first sector we've had today. Can Maxi Luca hold it together? Oh, he's got on the curbs a bit there. Got to be careful because you can get invalidated lap times. But if anyone's going to beat Beast now, it's going to be this lap right here for Maxi. And again, it looks as though he's backed out. So Maxi Luca, things not going to plan. And has he got time, Lily, to get another lap in? He's got 33 seconds. Should be
well, he's been on that set of soft tyres now for about 2-3 laps, so they're probably well past their best. He needs something incredible to pull this out. I'm just looking at Adi Barber. We will unfortunately lose the cameras before the end of this lap. It looks like Adi's made a mistake coming out the hairpin, and that might be his. Yep, indeed it is. He's called that qualifying time over. Merck currently on a fast lap as well. Well, I think he's anyway 17.1 in the first sector, which is bang on his pace. So we're unfortunately going to lose the cameras in a few seconds though. So I'll stay with Merck, see if he can get up into the front row.
Adi Barber as well. Oh, sector 2 time ain't come up, so. And Maxi Luca, he's out of qualifying then, and Maxi, is he quite simply throwing away his title chances? He's looking that way at the minute. As we ride on board with Merck, then as he comes down the home straight, can he snatch pole right at the end? Or can he even go on the front row? He stays 4th.
Yeah, must have made a mistake somewhere towards the end of the lap. It looked like a good first sector, but difficult to judge. Let's have a look. Mystic Joker, what's he doing? He's coming up to the line at the moment. Can't tell if it's invalidated or not. Currently in 5th place. Opens the DRS wing, tucks it to the left hand side to get the quickest line to the run. Stays 5th place, so he can't improve either.
So, not much changes going on in a minute. Danny Morris, he's in the pits. Wesker, he's still out there. So we've got Wesker and Cliffy. Cliffy stays 2nd. There's just the Wesker. Can the Wesker snatch a surprising pole like Sir Anthony did in Monza? No, he can't. So there it is. Beastas does take pole. Absolutely sensational performance, but the question is his connection going to hold out? We will find out very shortly.